Hello, so I am back in a different classroom with better lighting for Chapter 3 of Dinosaur Detectives. Ms. Frizzle, Keisha cried, are we extinct? Ms. Frizzle straightened her dinosaur dress and drew a deep breath. Of course we're not extinct, Keisha, the Frizz said. We're just parked near the rib cage of what looks like a Plateosaurus. That must mean we're in the Triassic period, Tim said, the earliest period of the Mesozoic era. That's the button you told me to push, remember, Ralphie? Carlos said. Yeah, I said, not wanting to look too responsible for this field trip. Just in case we never got back to the 21st century. Well, since we're back in time, 225 million years, the Frizz said, we might as well look around. Follow me, class. We're going on a Triassic field trip. The Frizz opened the bus door and slid down a rib bone to the ground. We all slid down after her. We picked our way through the dinosaur skeletons until we got to a dinosaur skull. Then there's a dino data file. A Plateosaurus was one of the first long-necked plant eaters in the Triassic period. It stood 27 feet long and weighed 1,500 pounds. It could also rear up and use its hands to pull leaves off trees. Fun fact, Plateosaurus had weak teeth. These weren't much help against large predators. Its large thumb claw was its best defense. You can see there's a little drawing, and it actually has kind of weird little baby hands. Not sure how I feel about my dinosaurs with baby hands. Wow, said Carlos, look at those teeth. Hey, Ralphie, D.A. said, get out your fossil. Let's see if it matches. Ms. Frizzle brightened. That's right, Ralphie. You can be a dinosaur detective, too. I pulled the fossil out of my backpack and held it up beside the jawbone of the Plateosaurus. The teeth were both flat, but not in the same way. Your fossil isn't a Plateosaurus tooth, Ms. Frizzle said, but it is a tooth from a plant eater. You can tell by its shape. From the desk of Ms. Frizzle, dino dentures. It's easy to tell the tooth of a meat eater from the tooth of a plant eater. Turn the page to find out how. Meat eaters all had sharp, pointy teeth. Plant eaters had teeth of many different odd shapes. You kind of have to grind those plants down. So you can see the meat eaters are at top. Their teeth are sharp for tearing, like and then the bottom are plant. And they're like, let me grind these leaves. Spinach is delicious. You, check out the fangs on that meat eater. Am I ever glad we're looking for a plant eater, I said. But what if a meat eater is looking for us? Phoebe asked with a quaver in her voice. Well, they wouldn't be looking for us on purpose, Dorothy Ann said. Humans didn't exist at the same time as the dinosaurs. Still, Miss Frizzle said as she picked Liz up off the ground, let's just be careful not to call attention to ourselves. Just then Wanda let out a blood-curdling scream. Yikes! Something slimy just landed on my head, Wanda yelled. So much for not calling attention to ourselves, Tim said under his breath. We all got quiet thinking about what kind of slimy stuff might have landed on Wanda. Then we heard something weird that gave us a good clue. Munch, crunch, smack. It sounded like our lunchroom when everyone was eating, only 100 times louder. Miss Frizzle, I said, I think we have company. We all looked up at the tops of the trees that surrounded the dinosaur graveyard. We saw a small head with a long snout that was attached to a very long neck. Why, it's a real live Plateosaurus, Miss Frizzle cried, just like the skeletons, only with meat on its bones. Looks like about 1,500 pounds of meat to me, Carlos said. Just then the Plateosaurus drooled some of its food again. It splattered right on my cap. Ew, I yelled. Plateosaurus was one of the first dinosaurs to eat plants, the Frizz told us. Triassic jungles were full of tasty treats. From the desk of Ms. Frizzle, Triassic salad bar. Triassic plant eaters munched on these plants. Horsetails, cycads, ferns, ginkgos, conifers. So conifers, we learned earlier this year, they're trees that have cones to deposit their seeds. So that's your pine trees, things like that. Fossils tell us about the plant life of the Triassic times. There's a little picture of some of those plants. Uh-oh, Dorothy Ann said. She pointed to the rest of the tall trees that stood around the skeleton graveyard. There were 8 more Plateosaurus heads poking out above the treetops. We were surrounded, and worse yet, dinosaur drool started to fall on us like rain. Hey, these guys may be vegetarians, I said, but they are nasty eaters. They didn't have napkins back then, guys. Give dinos a break. And they could squash us, Phoebe added. Good point, Phoebe, the Frizz said, waving us back to the bus. I think we'll zoom out of here and check out the Triassic world from the air. We piled inside the bus. The Frizz told us to buckle up, then she pulled down a switch on the magic school bus dashboard. There was a rumbling and shaking as the bus turned into the magic school bus copter. Within minutes, we were zooming straight up out of the dinosaur graveyard, but it might not have been soon enough. A Plateosaurus tried to take a mouthful of our copter as we passed by, but Ms. Frizzle turned the wheel of the copter just in time and we zoomed into the sky. So that is the end of chapter 3. I will see you next time. And we'll see if they see some more dinos, if they get drooled on a little more. I mean, I guess back then they don't have a shower, so maybe dinosaur drool is the best they can hope for. That's gross. All right, on that note, see ya.